Hi everyone, and welcome back to the official channel of LegalEdge. Now, before we start with our today's session, just do give me a tech check. Just let me know in the chat box whether I'm audible or not. Audible and visible too. चलिए. So let's start with our session. And आज जिस कंट्रोवर्सी के बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे ना, उसको चलते हुए काफी टाइम हो चुका है ना? It's been almost a week. जिस कंट्रोवर्सी को हम डिस्कस करेंगे, it has been in the public discourse, but we'll be understanding certain important thing regarding that. ठीक है? And the controversy which we are referring to is 370 rupees biryani issue involving a stand-up comedian Pranit More. ठीक है? तो क्या हुआ था एग्जैक्टली एंड फिर एनसीडब्ल्यू नेशनल कमीशन ऑफ वुमेन ने उनको समन किया along with the participant from the audience as well. एंड अब फाइनली स्टेट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र में मुंबई पुलिस ने सो मोटो कॉग्निजेंस के बेसिस पे FIR रजिस्टर की अंडर वेरियस सेक्शंस ऑफ BNS एंड IT एक्ट. तो उन सेक्शंस को भी आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे जिसके अंडर यहाँ पर ये FIR रजिस्टर हुई. But the first thing first, the primary fundamental right which is involved over there. Majority of the topics of our CLK जो हमारे पेपर के पर्सपेक्टिव से इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ और फंडामेंटल राइट से ही रिलेटेड होते हैं. And this Pranit More controversy is again related to one of the fundamental rights which is given to us by the Constitution of India, which is Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, which gives to every citizen of this country a freedom of the freedom of speech and expression. Article 19(1)(a) which lists out the right to freedom which are given to the citizens of this country. उसमें Article 19(1)(a) में speech and expression का हमको right दिया that every citizen of this country will have a freedom of speech and expression. But is this right absolute in nature? तो absolute तो है नहीं. The state is entitled to restrict the exercise of this particular right on the grounds mentioned under Article 19 clause 2, and the grounds which are mentioned over here are known as reasonable restrictions. Grounds which are known over here are known as reasonable restrictions, and the grounds which are mentioned with respect to Article 19(1)(a) includes one of the grounds which is known as decency and morality. That every citizen of this country is having a freedom of speech and expression. But decency and morality is one such ground on the basis of which the state is entitled to restrict your speech and expression as well. And stand-up comedians की जब हम बात करते हैं ना, तो decency and morality का is a ground which has been in discussion with respect to the stand-up comedians for a long period of time in our country, right from the AIB controversy. ठीक है, AIB का वो जो रोस्ट था जो उन्होंने कंडक्ट किया था, right from that to last year's India's got latent controversy and now the Pranit More incident, decency and morality कहीं ना कहीं आपका बार बार involved होता रहता है. And perhaps when you are exercising a freedom of speech and expression in such a manner, you are entitled to speak whatever you want to. But if your speech goes against the decency and morality standards of the society, then the state is entitled to take actions against you as well. अगर आपका speech obscene है, if your speech can be considered as obscene in nature, फिर उस obscenity के लिए state आपके ऊपर BNS and IT Act दोनों के अंदर charges claim कर सकता है. And that is what has been taking place, or that is what has happened with respect to the Pranit More rupees 370 biryani controversy over here. The state has filed FIR under section 75, section 294 of BNS and under section 67 of the IT Act as well. So let us understand कि ये पूरा का पूरा मैटर था, ठीक है. So initially हुआ क्या, that Pranit More ने अपने channels के ऊपर he uploaded a video with the title or a sketch with the title 370 biryani and supported defended it as a pure artistic expression, wherein he was in discussion with one of the members of the audience. ठीक है. बट जब सर्कुलेशन होना स्टार्ट हुआ, एंड दैट वाज समथिंग which was going against the dignity of the women as well in general. ठीक है. It was the issue of the consent or how entitled a man can feel himself after spending a rupees 370 on a biryani, ठीक है, date. How can he assume that the consent of the women is being implied over there on the basis of the money which is being spent on that biryani? फिर जब backlash होना start हुआ, तो after certain backlash from the society, multiple complaints are filed, and Maharashtra Cybercrime Police Department registered an official FIR to investigate into the matter. And that was not the only part about it. Even the National Commission of Women also issued a summons calling Pranit More and the member of uh, the audience who made that specific comment only. So it is the clash between your freedom of speech and expression and your fundamental rights as well. It guarantees speech and expression to every citizen of this country, that every citizen is entitled to speak whatever they want to speak, and along with that, they are entitled to express themselves as well. But that is not an absolute right in nature. The state is entitled to restrict the same as well on the ground like public order, decency, morality, prevention of incitement of an offense, protection of religious sentiments, and so on and so forth. So the point over here is that did the content remain within the protected satire, or did it come into something which can be considered as insult or something which can be considered as obscene as well? एंड बैकलेश के बाद, न्यूज रिपोर्ट्स के बाद, सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स पे आने वाली सारी चीजों के बाद स्टेट ने वहां पर कुछ एफआईआर फाइल की, और एफआईआर फाइल में सेक्शन 75 ऑफ बीएनएस, सेक्शन 294 ऑफ बीएनएस एंड सेक्शन 67 ऑफ द आईटी एक्ट. तो अब है क्या? I'm so sorry guys. So let's look at section 75. इसके अंडर उनको सबसे पहला उनके ऊपर चार्ज लगाया गया. Section 75 basically deals with sexual harassment. And what all kind of acts are punished under this particular section? So a man committing any of the following acts shall be guilty of the offense of sexual harassment. अगर इनमें से कोई भी एक्ट एक मैन कमिट करता है, तो that particular act will be considered as a sexual harassment incident. So making sexually colored remarks, which was part of that biryani conversation, the entire discussion which took place between the member of the audience and Pranit More over there, was something which was considered as making sexually colored remarks as well. तो पहला ऑफेंस उनके ऊपर ये लगा है. सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट के बारे में अगर हम जनरली देखें, so it involves any of the acts which involves physical contact or advances involving unwelcome and explicit sexual overtures, a demand or request for sexual favors, showing pornography against the will of the women, or making sexually colored remarks. This was something जिसके बेसिस पर वहां पर उनके ऊपर पहला ऑफेंस लगाया. नेक्स्ट ऑफेंस की अगर हम देखें ना, तो इट इज अबाउट सेल और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ ऑब्सीन मटीरियल. ऑब्सीन मटीरियल को अगर कोई पर्सन सेल कर रहा है, ऑब्सीन मटीरियल को अगर कोई पर्सन डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है या पब्लिश कर रहा है, so that is also something which is punishable as an act under section 294 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. But what is an obscene material? तो section 294 हमें ये भी बताता है कि what kind of a material will be considered as an obscene material. So according to this particular section, a book, a pamphlet, paper, writing, drawing, painting, representation, figure, or any other object, including display of any content in electronic form, shall be deemed to be obscene. इनमें से सारी चीजों को obscene माना जा सकता है if it is lascivious or appeals to the prurient interest, or if its effect, or whether it comprises two or more distinct items. The effect of any of its items is, if taken as a whole, such as to tend the depraved and corrupt persons who are likely having regard to all relevant circumstances to read, see, or hear the matter contained or embodied in it. तो अगर आपका content lascivious है, which is going to arouse the desire of sexual or which is going to arouse the sexual desires of a person, or if it is prurient in nature. Prurient refers to very much deeply engaged in sexual desires. इस तरीके का आपका material which is capable of corrupting the mind of the persons who will eventually read it or see it or hear the matter, फिर आपके उस particular material को obscene माना जाएगा. And whosoever is involved in the act of selling or distributing or making publicly available any obscene material shall be punished on first conviction with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years and with a fine which may extend to 5,000 years. 5,000 rupees. So 2 years plus 5,000 fine on the first conviction, and in the event of second or subsequent convictions with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years and also with a fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees. दूसरे और subsequent conviction के cases में up to 5 years plus fine of up to 10,000 rupees. And this is the second section जो यहाँ पर उनके ऊपर impose किया. And the primary reason for imposition of this particular section was क्योंकि वो material उनके social media handles पे share किया गया, ठीक है, वो particular clip उनके social media handles पे available किया गया, and that was something which was being considered as obscene over there. So this was the second section which was applied over there. तीसरा जो section जिसके अंदर FIR register की गई है, that is specifically related to IT Act. Whenever any obscene material is being shared or published through an online platform or through any kind of an online medium, that is something which is punishable under section 67 of the IT Act 2000. So it says that whoever publishes or transmits or causes to be published or transmitted in electronic form any material which is lascivious or appeals to the prurient interest, or if its effect is such as to tend the depraved and corrupt persons who are likely having regard to all relevant circumstances to read, see or hear the matter contained or embodied in it, shall be punished on first conviction with the imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and with a fine which may extend to 5 lakh rupees, and in the event of second or subsequent conviction with an imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years and also with a fine which may extend to 10 lakh rupees. So the amount of punishment which is being imposed over there, or the amount of fine which is being imposed in this particular situation, is higher in the IT Act. तो इन सारे सेक्शंस के अंदर वहां पर आपका चार्जेस लगाए गए हैं इन द FIR ऑफ द 370 बिरयानी मैटर. बट पॉइंट इसकी ऐसा नहीं है कि स्टेट कुछ भी वहां पर कर सकता है. देयर आर सर्टेन केसेस ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया व्हिच मेड इट क्लियर that what kind of a thing which will fall within the category of reasonable restrictions or not. Shia Singhal versus Union of India, Amish Devgan versus Union of India, Pravasi Bhalai Sangathan versus Union of India. There are certain judgments which are given by the Supreme Court with respect to the online speech rule as well. So, in Shia Singhal versus Union of India, the court said that restrictions on digital speed must be narrowly tailored. Mere annoyance or inconvenience is legally insufficient to criminalize an expression. And this is the reason that why Section 66A was declared as unconstitutional in this particular case. कि सिर्फ annoyance हो रहा है, inconvenience feel हो रहा है किसी को, वो अपने आप में sufficient नहीं होगा किसी के expression को रोकने के लिए. But decency or morality, that becomes a reasonable ground of restriction. Then Amish Devgan versus Union of India, intent rule यहाँ पे discuss किया गया. And the court established a strict distinction between legitimate criticism, satire, and intentional hate speech designed to vilify a specific community. This was a case which was particularly related to the offense of the hate speech over there. कोर्ट ने कहा सिर्फ क्रिटिसिज्म कर रहे हो आप किसी कम्युनिटी का, सटायर आप क्रिएट कर रहे हो, दैट इज नॉट समथिंग which is actionable. बट अगर आप इंटेंशनली हेट स्पीच कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हो, किसी कम्युनिटी को विलिफाई करते हो, दैट इज समथिंग which is actionable. Similarly, Pravasi Bhalai Sangathan versus Union of India, another issue of harmony rule. The court emphasized that the constitutional mandate to balance free speech protections against the necessity of preventing communal disharmony. अब ये सारी चीजें इस पर्टिकुलर केस में रिलेटेड नहीं है. दिस वाज नॉट रिलेटेड टू अ इंसिडेंट ऑफ हेट स्पीच, बट हियर इन डिसेंसी और मोरालिटी वाज प्राइमरली इन डिस्कशन. और वहां पे भी सिंपल सी चीज है कि अगर आपका स्पीच ऑब्सीन है, if your publication is obscene in nature, then the state is entitled to take an action against you as well. वही यहाँ पर अभी सेक्शन 75, 294 और सेक्शन 67 ऑफ IT एक्ट के थ्रू प्रणित मोरे के अगेंस्ट इंस्टीट्यूट किया. बट दिस वाज नॉट द ओनली थिंग इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द पर्पसेस ऑफ योर पेपर कि आपको इन सेक्शंस के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. अलॉन्ग विद दैट, अनदर स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी which came into news or which came into this entire issue was National Commission of Women, wherein they issued, through suo motu cognizance, they issued summons to these individuals to appear before them and explain their reasons or their justification for the said act. अब NCW है क्या? तो NCW, National Commission of Women, it's primarily a body which is created in our country for the purposes of regulating, managing, investigating, and ensuring that the rights of the women are properly enforced and adequately given to the women of the society. That is the primary purpose of the National Commission of Women. Body की अगर हम बात करें तो this is not a constitutional body. This is a statutory body established on 31st of January 1992 through National Commission for Women's Act 1990. तो स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी नहीं है. Works under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Women and Child Development, and primary objective of the body is to protect, promote and empower the rights of the women across our country. ठीक है. Composition की अगर हम बात करें, so the commission is actually made up of 7 persons. 7 member led ये particular panel होता है, wherein you have a chairperson, you have 5 members and you have 1 member secretary. So chairperson is someone who is appointed by the central government and it is mandated to be a person deeply committed to the cause of women. Central government appoint करती है and appoint primarily ऐसे किसी person को किया जाता है who is deeply committed to the cause of women. 5 nominated members होते हैं. There are 5 nominated members which are appointed by the central government, and these nominated members must possess deep expertise across law, administration, women's welfare, economic development or education. And there is 1 member secretary, which is again appointed by the central government and acts as the institutional anchor requiring expertise in management and administration. So this is what the composition of National Commission for Women is. Objectives क्या है National Commission of Women के? So to review the safeguards, continuously audit करते रहना कि भाई जो constitutional और legal protections या legal right दिए गए हैं women को, वो adequate है या नहीं, क्या उनमें कुछ changes करने की जरूरत है with the passage of time, and so on and so forth. Second is to recommend legislation. अगर NCW को लगता है कि women related issues पे अब कोई नया law बनाने की जरूरत है, तो उससे related वो recommendation center को दे सकते हैं. Redress the grievances, act as an effective facilitator for the resolution of the rights violations with respect to the women. कि अगर women के कई बार right कुछ violate हो रहे हैं, कुछ ऐसे incidents हो रहे हैं, उनमें grievances को redress करवाना, advise the government, ठीक है, on welfare matters affecting the women की क्या क्या नई welfare schemes लाई जा सकती है, and drive the empowerment, that is to actively promote systematic gender equality and women's empowerment. These are the 5 core objectives of the National Commission of Women. Functions की अगर हम बात करें कि क्या क्या functions NCW perform करता है, तो it functions as an investigative agency, advisory body, inspection and research. So it takes the suo motu cognizance with respect to the violation of women's rights and actively examines the atrocities and discrimination which is committed against the women. जैसे अभी हम देखें इस पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट में 370 बिरयानी वाली कंट्रोवर्सी में भी एनसीडब्ल्यू ने खुद सुओ मोटो कॉग्निजेंस लिया. इट कंडक्ट्स रिसर्च, ठीक है, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द लीगल अवेयरनेस एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स और प्रोग्रेसिव थिंग्स व्हिच कैन बी डन फॉर द वुमेन इन द सोसाइटी, तो उस बारे में रिसर्च करते रहना. एडवाइजरी फंक्शंस में इसके रिव्यू द लॉज और द पॉलिसी और द स्कीम्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट एंड इंस्पेक्शंस as well. So it physically inspects the jails, remand home and protective custody facilities to ensure the humane treatment of the women. ये सारे primary functions NCW वहाँ पर perform करता है. So इस entire issue की बात करें, so the relevant portion for the purposes of your legal reasoning is Article 19(1)(a), the grounds of reasonable restriction, the 3 sections under which the FIR has been filed against Pranit More, and the role or the establishment or a general overview of your National Commission of Women as well. ठीक है, so I hope the topic is clear. Right, the Great India GK2 season 1 is going on, which is 10 times grander and better. So registration is open, which is free for everyone. Registration link is given in the description box. Do refer to the same as well. फिर YD अगर schedule की बात करें, so important schedule is being going on, ठीक है, which is pretty much important for the purposes of your paper. So Hindu analysis daily on 9 AM, big news every Thursday 6 PM, Indian Express explained every Friday 7 PM, and legal updates every Monday 5:30 PM. इसको skip मत करो. This is something which is important, which will help you to cover 50% of your CLAT paper as well. ठीक है. फिर the CLAT Toppers Tour is also going on, wherein you have a chance to sit in the same room with the toppers of your last year to understand what they did right, what went wrong, among other things as well. तो इसकी registration link भी आपको description box में मिल जाएगी. Do register for the same as well. So that's it for today. I hope the topic is clear. बाकी तबीयत वगैरह का ध्यान रखिए, आराम से पढ़ाई करिए and responsibly अपने freedom of speech and expression को exercise करिए. ठीक है? So that's it for today. Just take care of yourself and I'll see you soon, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.